Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for your daily dose of Minecraft entertainment. This is part 2 of our nuclear series. So what we have here is our parts for our nuclear reactor. These things require a lot of parts and a lot of resources. So I don't have everything here yet, but might as well go over and put a few of the parts in, get a feel for how it's set up and how it looks. We don't have any uranium cells up just yet, so like I said, we're not going to get the actual reactor running at this current time. This is just a setup to give you an idea of what you might set it up as when you first get it started. Now, of course, you can do more once you have other reactor chambers. We're not going with any extra one other than what we have. So here we are at the actual house. As you can see, we have a sign up here, nuclear facility, to let everyone know what's going on. The inside still as it was from the last episode, and as you can see right here, not much room to work with, but we have just enough materials to make this work. Now, since it's this small, it won't put out a lot of energy, but it'll put out just enough to get things going. Roughly around, say, 6 million EU, somewhere in there. So we'll put our heat dispersers in accordingly, following an off and on type pattern. Basically, they will alternate, and they will be across from each other all the way down. It'll be a pattern of 6. The same will go for the actual coolant cells. We will alternate them between the heat dispersers, and we will put a couple down the center. Now, by the time all this gets done, you'll see the last 3 spots where the uranium will go. Now, of course, we have 3 more that goes in the center. So, yeah. Now, the uranium in this setup would roughly last about 2 hours and 40-some minutes game time. So it gives you plenty amount of time to actually work with this. So here we go. The last 3 spots where uranium cells would go if we had them. Once they get put in, the reactor will be, well, it'll be moving, it'll be working. Now, we can actually have it shut on and off with a redstone switch, but I'd rather not do it, at least right now at this current time. So one other thing we'll have to do is put some water in here to keep the reactor cool, so to prevent any type of meltdown or heat buildup. Well, with enough heat buildup, then we would have a meltdown and we would have a catastrophe. But we'll put enough water in here, not flooding out the entire house, but just enough to keep the reactor cool and things under check. So for the most part, things here look pretty good here. We'll leave this alone, and I don't think we'll have to make any adjustments. I think for the most part, this is a pretty good start-off setup. So we'll go back. We'll have to create MNF, or MFS, I believe it is, to store all the energy that we'll be getting from our nuclear reactor. Okay, so here we are. We'll get started. As you can see, here's our MFE. It's fully charged at 600,000 EU. The MFS will store about 10 million EU, so it's going to have a ton of energy inside. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot better compared to the MFE. Alright, now this video had some audio issues, so this is an actual voiceover from what we had before. Unfortunately, the original commentary did not make it to the actual video. But for this MFS, we're going to need a ton of resources, just like our nuclear reactor. We will have to make some more diamonds. We'll have to make some Lapotron crystals for the actual reactor itself. We'll need 6 of them, plus some redstone, and some glowstone and such for advanced circuits. We'll also need a ton of actual copper wiring, as well as copper bars. Well, maybe not so much copper bars, maybe just the copper wiring itself. And we'll also need some actual refined iron, excuse me, because you're going to need that for your circuits either way, advanced or plain. So we'll go ahead, we'll get that started now for the advanced, well, for the refined iron, and we'll get that cooking. Okay, so here we go. We have things set, and first and foremost is we'll get these we'll get the power crystals set up, which involve redstone and diamonds. We'll get these built up right here. So we've made our 6 for the actual MFS. Now we'll set it up with our circuits. We have enough circuits here. We're going to make some Lapotron crystals. So as you can see, it's not too difficult to make with lapis lazuli, some circuitry, and some power crystals. Since our power crystals don't stack, we'll have to do this one at a time. Had a few misclicks there. This mouse is being a little funky this morning. So here we go. There's our first, and we'll start putting all these crystals out. These crystals hold about 1 million EU per, well, crystal. Okay, so we have our crystals done and set now. So next what we're going to do is work on this electric circuit. We're going to make this an advanced one. First we'll get our materials that we need, starting with some glowstone and some redstone. Then we'll go from there. We'll need these materials for our advanced machine block, as we're moving up from just simple machine blocks. Okay, so here we go. Here's some redstone. We'll throw down some lapis lazuli for some color, and we'll put our circuit in the middle. There's our advanced circuit. Okay, now we're going to wind up getting some more iron because we're going to have to convert this to refined iron. Going to need that for some machinery. We'll go ahead and split that up, put them in the ovens, get them cooking for when they get done. Okay, so here we go. We have our machine block set up. As you can see, I've also made the MFE. That's part of the recipe as well for the next upgrade storage unit. So now that they're done, what we'll do... By the way, this is actually used for part of the machine too. This is the recipe going down. Now this comes right down to the actual coal dust. This is needed for part of the machine block itself. We're going to need to make carbon plates. So by using coal dust and combining them down, as you can see, we'll surround the block with carbon plates, excuse me. Then we'll put our advanced alloy on top and bottom to make our advanced machine block. And this is going to be used in a lot of basically machines later in the game of industrial craft. So now that we have that, we can use our MFE and our Lapotron crystals. We'll line up the crystals on each side and get them set. They don't have to be charged, by the way. They can be, but they don't have to be. Not that you can really do much with it at this point in the game until they're done anyway. So here's our MFE we could put in the middle, and then we'll put our advanced circuit up top to get the actual formula completed. So there we go. There's our MFS unit that can hold 10 million EU. And this is going to store all of our power from the actual unit itself, the nuclear facility. And this will be for storage for all kind of different things. So now that that's done, well, actually, since it's done, what we're going to actually need would be some wirings of some sort. Now that that's crafted, what we can do next... Actually, no, what we can do next would be to actually get some uranium. So we'll go back. We can actually work on that uranium cell right about now. And I'll show you how to get it all started. We have plenty of uranium, about 27 pieces here. So we'll go ahead and put a couple pieces in our compressor. All we need is 3, so that'll do. And this will take a little bit of time, but it'll compress all of our uranium ore down into uranium bars. Actually called refined uranium. And once you combine the refined uranium with our cells, you can get uranium cells. So we got plenty of them up here. I'm only going to need about 3 of them. So there's our first uranium bar. We could take that. We'll take that right over to the actual table. We could put that in there with our cell, and you can see there's our uranium cell. One of 3 that we will need, of course. Okay, so the other one should be done. There we go. We'll make one more. Then we'll just have to wait for that final cell to be completed. Okay, so there it is. Our last cell is completed. Now that we have that done, it's all good. So I might have said before, we're going to need some actual cable to run some of this electric from the reactor to our unit. So what I'm going to need is some glass panes right here. Well, rather glass panels. Not really panes, but we'll need some of them. And we're going to need some diamond. What I'm going to make is called glass fiber cable. And what it's really good for is, it's good for long distances, but it can also hold a pretty good charge. So I don't have to use it, but I just think it's pretty cool too. So we're going to need more diamond though. So we'll go back, we'll get the Klein star. And it looks like it's got a pretty good charge on it. So we'll put that in our transmutation tablet. We'll duplicate some diamonds. Wrong spot. There we go. Now we'll drain it to get as many diamonds as we can get, which is roughly 12. What we'll do is we'll put it back, and we'll put a charge back on it. No point in holding on to it for no reason. Okay, so we'll put the collector back, let that charge back up. And we'll use roughly about, maybe 6 diamonds. We'll use about half of the stack. That way we'll have about roughly 36 pieces of glass fiber cable. I mean, it's really good for long distance, but it's also great because there's not a lot of loss when you actually place it. And thanks to equivalent exchange, it makes getting diamonds a little bit easier. Actually, for the whole mod, it makes them getting a lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to put tin in here for the recipe, but tin isn't actually what's required. That's a big mistake on my part. We actually need silver. So that's an oopsies right there. Go back to the chest and get some silver bars out. Silver, tin, they look same thing on the papers. They look really close. So okay, so let's try this recipe again one more time. This time with silver bars. Then we'll insert our glass blocks. And as you can see, we have our 6. So we'll just add a little bit more to make sure everything's good. And we'll take out our 12. We don't need 12 of them. There we go. So we'll make sure 6 is all around the board so everything's nice and set. There we go. We'll get that all readjusted. There's our 36 pieces of glass fiber cable. So that should be enough to suffice for now. We'll put back some material we weren't using. Get everything straightened up. I just like trying to keep it straight. Now we can make our way back to the reactor and get things squared away. Well, here we are. There's our glass fiber cable set up from the reactor to our MFS. As you can see, it's sitting over there. The output is sitting on the outside, so the pipe is going into an input. As you can see, it holds 10 million EU with a 512 output. So if we need to use it on lower machines, we'll have to put a low voltage converter on there for it. But there we go. There's the setup. We have our glass fiber cable set up to it. Of course, we don't have anything going on just yet. Just a simple setup on the inside. We'll still have to put the water down, but it shouldn't take too long to fill that box up. Well, it may take about 2 tries, but with equivalent exchange, we'll have infinite fuel, basically. So anyway, before we get this started, we'll just have to put some water down. Now, of course, we double check the reactor one more time to make sure things are good. But as I was saying, now of course it's a matter of how we're going to get the water up onto the reactor. So we have a couple blocks here, but I get the feeling I'm going to need a little bit more. So we'll head outside and we'll find some dirt. Holding shift and using the shovel this time. We don't need to make a big mess. Of course, the shovel is just a little bit too powerful. A couple dirt blocks will do. So let's go back in. Try to figure out how we're going to do this bridge. So let's see. Here we go. So, as soon as the block wants to go down. Okay, so that's 3 high. Now we'll use dirt to make a little plane over. Now the water has to be placed 3 high above the actual reactor. If it's too high or less, then actual heat from the reactor will burn up your source water. If it burns up the source water, that's going to kill your water flow. So this is high enough. We'll place the water here. And this should keep it cool or maintain some level of coolness. So we can take away our dirt and our little pile of bricks here. And I don't know, I think we may just put one more block of water down. It seems like it's doing nice. Another pile of water wouldn't hurt at all. Another pile of water. Okay, so yeah. Seeing how it kind of shades off that area right there. May as well put one more bucket of water in here to make sure everything stays cool. We want to be precautious, don't want to have any meltdowns. They're always a bad thing to have. Stupid door, let me out. Okay, so here we go. Try to get a bucket of water. Now for some reason the water's being a little glitchy there. You would have figured it would have worked. Let's try this area. Okay, that one ain't working either. Okay, there we go. So this will be our last bucket. We don't need to have a room full of water, but you get the general idea. Just enough to keep everything nice and steady. Now we'll have to find a way to get to the top using this pipe as some sort of leverage. Crap. Okay, here we go. So throw more one down. There we go. Now I'm not sure if this looks level or not. Let's take a look at it. No, crap. Now I can't get back up. Alright. Yeah, this ain't gonna work. There we go. Alright, getting back up. It seems like it may work fine here. So let's just put the bucket there. Alright, for the most part, everything looks level. So, whatever. It's acceptable. Now digging underwater becomes a pain because everything's taking a long time to dig. So we can remove all this stuff and try to maintain some semblance of control around here because all the water is pushing me away. Sheesh. Okay, well at least we can reach the reactor to put the uranium in there. Okay, so hopefully this water won't push me around too much. Can I get close to it? Okay, there we go. So let's go ahead and put the uranium cells in there. And our reactor's running pretty good. Everything's on. So she's up and she's running. Looks like it's got the little green light on. Yep. Okay, so let's go outside and see how it's doing with the MFS. How much it's putting out energy-wise. There we go. So there's our MFS on the outside. As you can see, it's building up a little bit of energy at a nice rate. So that's pretty good. We'll throw some torches down because this is freaking dark out here. There we go. Much better now. You can actually see. One more for good luck. There's the actual output, the little copper dot right there. There's where all the energy will come out from. So we can actually put a glass fiber cable right there to get things going from the actual outside. There we go. So that's pretty much going to do it. We actually have everything set up and ready to roll for our next episode. So I thank you for watching. I hope you found it informative or entertaining or both. If so, please give it a thumbs up, leave any comments down below, and we'll get to them when I can. So anyway, have yourself a wonderful day, and if not, then just simply fake it. It'll be over before you know it. I'll see you again next time in a nuclear tomorrow. What in the world? Ooh. Get out of here, slap nuts. Jesus. Anybody else? Okay, not so much.